Starting recording.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, we had success at the Life Act meeting, I believe. I think Lane concurs.
Yes.
And other people that I've talked with are pretty happy with what was presented, and they understand it. One snafu that has come up is the commissioners for the fire department are misunderstanding the difference between the public dock and an emergency dock at the ferry terminal. And so I'm working through with them right now, trying to clarify, help getting in their minds the two different separate things that we're working towards. And so it's a process, and we're making headway, but I got to get a hold of all of them and continue on that process. So, because obviously that's the biggest emergency type of use need that we still don't have. And definitely that would be the stopgap between what's coming when the ferry terminal is rebuilt and the new ferry, which could be a long time. So that's where we're at on that. Also, I may as well just finish with what I've been working on. I'm waiting on the Bringolfs return call or getting their phone number. Walter is his name. They own the house just north of the post office. So if anybody knows how to get a hold of them, I've reached out, put a thing on Nextdoor asking for them to call, and then also asking for his phone number, but I have not heard from them. And I have a couple other messages out to other folks that I haven't heard back from yet. But I think we've got the majority of people that are most impacted, the neighbors
Chris,
to north
have you
and
looked
south.
in the Lummi Island phone directory?
You know, I didn't even think of that. Didn't even think of that.
Let me grab a copy of it and see, because it may be in there.
Yeah, that would be nice if it was, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Let me,
Well, Lane, you've got,
excuse myself a second.
okay, Lane, you've got the PowerPoint with more notes in it. And that's what we're going to work on tonight, is filling that out more for our next meeting.
Yes, the Leica meeting on the 26th. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Chris, while we're waiting on Mary, there was one homeowner that I think you said they wanted a privacy fence or something?
Correct.
Which property is that?
The very first house north of the platform of the park.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
that, yeah.
So that should be pretty easy to do, I would think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, they're totally in favor of it. And so the first two residences to the north are in full support of it. The Bringhals will be the third house north, and hopefully they'll have the same attitude. And then the folks after them, the King, Dave King, he was in support of it, of course. And then Ed and Helen Scott, they were not in support of it, but they recognize that this is probably going to be something that will be done after their time anyway. So, and their biggest concern was adding trespassers to their property.
Yeah.
And of course, I think that can be mitigated, but you know, that's each one's right to be concerned in that way. And that's why we're calling them, to find out, okay, what it is that they're concerned with.
Yeah.
The neighbors after that, Dawn Dietrich, I believe is her name. I'm waiting to get a call back from her, sent her a message today. And then there's one other small cabin between Ed and Helen and Dawn Dietrich's place there. And I have his number somewhere, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him yet either. And then, of course, to the south,
How do you spell their name?
Bringolf.
Okay, nope, they're not listed.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid.
Hmm.
So they actually live in California. So
Chris, what were you going to say about the one to the south? That's the tiny one right on the waterfront?
yeah, so the first home, the Jaegers, with the two little cabins, they are possibly in support. His biggest concern is people not using his cabins any longer as an outhouse. They've been going underneath his buildings and using it as a toilet. And of course, the people trespassing all over the place down there. So he's not excited about that, but he was also willing to consider ways to mitigate the problem. And I assured him that from at least a volunteer viewpoint, as a committee of islanders that are going to really be involved in this, we're going to police well anybody that's going down there. I said, I would build personally a privacy fence for you. I'll put up signs for you. If the county won't, because the Parks Department, not to their detriment, and just, they didn't do it for whatever reason, didn't talk to the Jaegers about doing what they've done there and providing access to the beach, but no signs that say, don't go past this line because it's private property, right? So that's his big concern as well. You know, they're not listening to me at all. They don't have an ear. I said, we will have an ear. So we're going to help.
So are you given, I was just updating my notes, and I did not have Jaeger on the original list. Is that, is this the seventh?
Yeah, I talked to you the last Sunday. I did mention that I talked with them, and
I missed. Okay, so let me just come back and I'll just share my screen while I'm.
okay.
I think I've got it set up for you to do that. Yep.
You do. Thank you. So I was just from last week. I had Wagoneer. I had King, Burnett, and Wagoneer, and I did not get Jaeger. Is this the right way to spell Jaeger?
Yes.
Okay.
Close enough for now.
And two cabins. Is this the one south or the?
Yes, immediately south of the platform.
Right, because we were talking about, just reminding you that at some point, maybe if we do a little plat map with the names, and the committee will know which.
Yeah, I started that and didn't have a chance to get it done yet. But
No worries. Okay. I did look, as a matter of fact, I did a bunch of research this afternoon as I was looking at some of the other islands, and there is a sign at Lopez that has that little dinghy, those stairs only, and they're very explicit about do not, what's private and such. So yeah, certainly it's fair to expect to be some sort of line there.
So add to or number 8 lane would be Dennis Matheson, DENNIS, MATHENSON.
Oh, there's an N, Matheson. Okay.
Yeah. And he is in support.
Okay.
He would like to see mitigation wise, a walkway, something for people to be able to walk on the east side of the road and have a safe way to get from the parking lot to the new dock. And I said, oh, see, that's exactly why we're calling. I would have that never came to my mind yet. And he brought up something that was really important, a good sidewalk to get from A to B. So, and they've had problems with people trespassing as well. And he said, that's why he never rebuilt the stairs there because he didn't want the risk of people going down and using his beach. He says they still do, but he no longer has a stairway there because of that. But he's all in support of having a dock.
Which house?
Dennis has the really nice big gray house there with the windows that tint automatically. So the third building or the second building on the west side headed south from the beach store.
The one that the way I describe my husband is they're usually not home, but look, the blinds are up. Okay, so.
Yeah, they're Canadian, so they're stuck.
Okay, so that tells me what. So, well, I add this note because I did add a little, as I was working on the PowerPoint, a few notes about access and parking. So when we get to that, we will, I think, try to put everything in one place. While we're talking about so any other update on neighbor survey?
Hey, number 7 there, Jaeger is YEAGER.
YEAG. Thank you, Nick. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome, Nick.
Hiya.
Let's see, okay, so I made some notes during the presentation because I thought it was good for us to figure out like what questions were being asked and Judy asked, Owen asked about, enforcing the short-term dock limit. And I mean, I'm sure she knew the answer was what we gave her. The answer is that it's not going to be patrolled, but that might come up again. And I don't know if we want to come up with a response, or we just wait till people ask. I mean, it's like anything else over here. Well, we don't, we don't have a lot big law enforcement presence. Let's see, Charles, thanks Christopher's efforts. Dave Parker was asking, how many public docks does Parks and Recreation own and operate? They weren't able to answer that instantly. The only one I know about, I think, is Samish, or another one that sounds a lot like Samish, which is a lake. But Todd Donovan pointed out that really it's San Juan County who has a whole bunch of them, and suggested some examples. And so that's why I did some more research. But I don't know of any other.
There's a huge one on Waldron Island.
Waldron, that's
Not Waldron. No, not Waldron. Stewart Island.
Stewart is in Whatcom County.
No, not.
That's in
No.
Whatcom
Stewart
County.
Island in the San Juans.
Yes, yeah, okay. So I'm going to say this explicitly. The question was Whatcom County.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't go on to say he thought that there was a reason not to think they could do it, but he did ask.
Yeah, and
So-
there also is an answer is that the city of Bellingham, so this is not Whatcom County Park and Rec,
Okay,
but the city of Bellingham's Park and Rec Department has recently purchased
oh, yeah,
that long dock, and it should be in our materials, because I think I
Yeah.
sent that article, or
yeah,
somebody sent that article,
yeah,
near the old cement factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so, yeah,
they are doing that for some of the same reasons. It's not to have places to dock a boat, but it's a public pier for people to be able to go out on and to enhance waterfront access.
yeah. Yes, so. So one idea I think we might want to consider is maybe doing a separate document that gives some examples, so that people who ask, we can just refer them to that. So we don't have to answer a whole bunch of questions about it, but maybe just put together a sample. And so that's a good one. But Point Roberts is Whatcom County.
Yes.
And that's Marine Park or whatever, even though right now it's, that was damaged in the storm?
I'm not aware of that one. I've never been into Point Roberts.
Yeah, I know. I think they're in the middle of rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Was very happy. Todd Donovan seemed very impressed with the presentation.
Yeah, he's our county council rep,
Yeah.
or he's not ours, but he's the county council liaison for LIFAC.
Right. And he did ask, I think because someone brought up the Sinclair, he was asking about longevity and recommendations for preventing, I say abuse, I didn't really mean abuse, but water damage, not like graffiti or something.
Mhm. And I think once he saw the kind of system that we're proposing that they look at, I think
Yes.
he was kind of like, okay, I can see how that can survive the storms and stuff like that.
Exactly. Reed Johnson was asking about timeline.
Mhm.
You tell us. And was actually, Chris said 20 years. And I got to tell you, today I found a discussion about one that they're rebuilding. And honestly, the woman said they've been working on it for 20 years. So that was not, I mean, I hate to say it first, I was like, oh no, surely not. But anyway, but Rama was actually very surprised that we had this much going with, you know, at least rolling, getting a coherent argument, I think is what we're looking at here. And we can't, that's the best we can do. So now, I don't know if people saw on Nextdoor, someone had posted the same thing. Dave, remember you had told us about the
Yeah.
big boat funding. And so I was curious as to what, you know, people would say about it. And of course, and I wrote people's names in here. I won't put these in our published, well, I mean, I don't know, it's public information, I guess, but I won't put this in our published notes. I just wanted to share with you guys. I don't know if you know these folks, but so one, of course, is, you know, people will come here and never leave. There you go. Here's someone who says, first of all, they think we're working on getting a new ferry, and there's good news from them with a new ferry in the near future. Wow. I would not have said that was wildly close to accurate. Nothing we can do about it, but it was just interesting to see. Here's someone who is in favor of Beach Cafe, and here another person who somehow thinks that Easton Quarry is gonna,
Yeah.
I don't know, something. So to me, this is just part of us building our repertoire of, you know, questions that will
Right.
come up, and whether
Right.
we do anything with it specifically, but there you go. We'll wait for Alan. Tell us a little bit more about how the survey is doing, the ferry outage survey.
I've got some info on that.
Okay, great.
And I did send out a copy of the article I'm
Yeah,
going to send out. And if people have comments on it, I had to get the Tome article in because of the deadline. So, but I did send it out for you all to look at. We can look at it.
it looked great.
Anyone else have any comments on it or have a chance to read it?
Yeah, I took a quick read through, Mary. It looked good. I think there was
Okay.
only one minor typo kind of thing was, I think you said, I gotta find it, unless we're gonna go through it. Said something about the ferry returning to service that evening at 7 p.m. that night or something.
Oh, that's 2 times, yeah. That evening at 7 p.m.
Yeah, something like that.
Take out at night, okay,
But other than that, looked great to me.
okay.
Okay, so we can update our, let's see, and LifeHack is done. And that's done.
And I also
Now we
need to
can-
change the link to use the go to it at .at/PDC-01B.
Oh, for the survey.
Yeah, that's what I need to change at the very end of it. Wow, the link, that's what I need to put in.
Okay. Okay.
So before anyone sends that to Facebook or anything. I will
Oh,
do
got
that.
it. Good point. Okay. So our next upcoming, our next deliverable is the LICA on the 26th, and that's now basically 2-ish weeks, 10 days. And so we'll work on that tonight, like you say, Chris. Were you able to check, Mary? Is that, you said 20 to 30 minutes in your, the Tome
Mhm.
article, so I presume that 20, should we assume 20-minute presentation?
Yeah, and 10 minutes for questions. That's what I'm thinking. And then that's kind of what I put in the Tome article would be 20 minutes,
Okay.
20 to 30 minutes. So. And if we go 15 on the presentation, you've got 15 more for, but we'll figure. They like to try to end the LICA meetings by 8:30. If, and like, this will be the first time that Greg, who is the president of LICA, has had to chair a Zoom meeting where they've had a program as well. And so I think, and he sometimes tends to talk a lot. And so I'm going to talk to him about a couple things. And I actually moved the actual general meeting start time up by 15 minutes in the Tome article. And so that I think we can get it done by 8:30 because people don't like staying beyond 8:30.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, so we practice, people will practice, we'll make sure people can get it right down to real right on time. Chris, I honestly, I was going to go back and look at the video. I thought it was just 10 minutes, but I forgot to start a stopwatch.
It was right around 10.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Yeah, it was good on the time.
Yep. Let's see. Elaine was supposed to do the flyer, and I totally, because I didn't do the minutes until a little later. I was like, oh, I forgot. So I will do that by the middle of this week. Let's give it until 16, 17, 18. Let's see, the 118th day of January, which sometimes we feel like. Okay. Still good for town meeting survey afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, we need to start developing the survey, but I think that would be good for us to start working on developing the survey, and we can tweak it after the LICA meeting.
Yeah.
From feedback we provide, we have there. But I think we do need to start thinking about what questions we want to ask.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say we'll work to make sure next week we've started working on it. And I think, we'll definitely think about the March 17th for Parks and Recreation. Because I realized getting the information back from the survey and actually doing something with it, we'll need more time than just.
Yeah. And it might be good to talk to Terry as far as like, what their upcoming workload is. And find out if the 17th or maybe even April would be better for them.
Okay.
I emailed Terry in response. She sent me more information that I will forward to you guys.
Okay.
But I asked her to look over a draft presentation that we'll provide as soon as we can. And I figure once we get what we're going to use for LICA, that would be a good time to, in draft form, give it to Terry, and she can evaluate from there, and she'll help us at that point. Then we can start solidifying her suggestions after her look over our draft.
Yeah, and maybe we could invite her to come to one of our meetings if she could.
Okay.
I think that might be really good.
It'll probably be a good time to do it after our LICA meeting.
Yes.
Next Sunday after that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have enough more information to really solidify what we're planning on giving.
Yeah, for the following weekend. Yeah.
3-1? I forget. Whatever, it's the last, the meeting after. Yeah. Okay.
Look at the calendar.
I know that's the 26th, but I can't remember.
It'll be the 30th.
30th.
30th. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I will take care of asking her that.
Great. One other thing before we get to, that I had anyway, and since, since I'm
Oh,
sure.
Lapoff is Lapoff. I think.
Oh, okay, one F,
No,
one,
it's not poof, yeah. It's
okay.
LAPOF, or is it FF?
Anyway, I'm gonna take this out. I just want to share this with you guys because I was thinking about it. And I just wanted us to, like I say, to be kind
I
of,
think it's good to like write down the questions, because those are things that we should just anticipate people asking stuff like that.
yeah, and yeah, and things that we just will I think where we can reiterate. And like you say, Chris, we'll say explicitly in the presentation, right, that this, how it's different than the emergency. I was just thinking emergency as in the fire department handles emergencies and we're not talking about that. But I see what you mean about the difference between the work on the ferry terminal to provide emergency access to a vehicle.
Yeah, and it is POF.
Okay, there we go. Okay, cool.
And can we have a chance to give some feedback on the presentation?
Oh, good idea, good idea. Yeah, I said debrief.
Can I-
and really give everybody a chance. Yeah. Let's see where to debrief. Sorry, I know it's nauseating for someone to be scrolling through quickly on. Here you go. Okay.
Yeah, okay, good.
And let me just write this real note, committee to add explicit. To presentation. Okay, cool.
Okay, I have just one that I think is kind of important, because from Simon's comment down below, the whole thing with the Easton Preserve dock, and I think that rather than just, Chris, because I know you were really pressed for time and you really like whipped through the list, like, if this is private property, this is private property, blah, blah, blah. I think it's important that we really say that a Heritage Trust is providing a landing spot for a helicopter, and also a place that will be accessible by emergency vehicles for a large landing craft to land, but they have no plans for doing a public dock. And I think in the current Easton Preserve plan, that is, I think we just need to continue to put that word out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that's one that, I think the presentation that you did was excellent. You did a really good job, Chris. But I know that's something that we need to try to address, because that is still a issue with people, and the Heritage Trust has said that, and they've put their preserve plans out.
Yeah.
And still people don't see it.
Well, and that's a good point, because we're giving, we're going to provide a handout, and Alan's not here. I didn't get a chance to ask him about where he was going to post the presentation for LifeAct. But on our LICA presentation and for the town hall, we certainly, I think, will give a link directly to the Easton Preserve site that says what is it going to do.
Okay.
I think I probably have it in the presentation, but I'll just check and see.
And having more time will allow us to elaborate more fully
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
exactly what you're
Yeah.
addressing.
But I think
But I
that's
love that
one that's
idea.
important.
Yeah, because I keep on talking to people on the island. Everyone wants to hash out their ideas that we've already gone over and either ruled out or said, well, there's a potential, but there is a lot of misinformation out there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go through that, yeah, just everyone kind of go through your head as to, I think Easton has risen to the top of the things most of us have been hearing as the, boy,
Well,
you don't understand
for
what that's
me,
for.
I'm on the board for Heritage Trust, and I kind of know what's going on with that. And so, anything that we can do to help support them to get rid of the misconceptions.
Well, honestly, one
Is
of
a
the
good
people who
thing.
mentioned it to me, I swear, is a part of the trust. And so I was so surprised when she said that. And I was like, oh, haven't you read your plans? So I don't know if some people just still think that, I don't know, more just will happen magically, or I don't know. But we will definitely want to spell that out. Mhm.
Like, I'll have to talk with you later and see who that was.
Oh, you know what? This is embarrassing, but it was the beach cleanup, and I'm not sure. I didn't know everybody.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So if anybody else, we should probably all listen to it again, actually, because while we
Yeah.
were listening, we weren't. I mean, I was just like, let this go. Okay, let this go. Okay. And Chris was doing so well. I was like, oh, thank heavens that's, it seems like this is really hanging together. But now to watch it again, I think will be helpful. Okay. Anybody else have anything before I have one more thing before we get into the presentation. Anybody else
Yeah,
have
back up there. I just want to look at that first statement. Just thinking out loud here as we look through Judy question about enforcing short-term dock limits, all of these types of comments that are made. In my mind, a lot of them focus on, enforcement and how are we going to help the situation along. In my mind, it's a community effort because, as we've talked about, the Parks Department wants a cooperative relation with the community that's requesting this. And they're trying to understand how to make those things work. So I think a lot of those things are just from community involvement. There will have to be a long-term community effort to take care. And what I've pointed out to folks is just like Leica provides people getting involved in mowing the parking lot and keeping that up, is kind of the same type of community effort. So it's different than a lot of other things on the island because we're going to have direct involvement from my perspective. And I think that's what the county parks would like to see too.
Yeah, let's not say coordinated through Leica just yet.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm
okay.
saying what they're already doing. They're
Yeah.
already doing the parking lot. I'm just saying there'll be a committee, whether it's Leica or not, that will be directly involved with the dock.
Yep.
Well, yeah, when we lived in Northern California, we lived right on the Yuba River, which was simultaneously one of the most beautiful and most dangerous rivers, certainly in California. And they had something called river ambassadors who would come down for, in peak weekends and have a booth and have handouts and kind of be the, are you wearing your PFD, this, that, and the other thing. And it could very well be that we'll want some sort of kind of walk around volunteers who were like kind of a little visible presence, at least, early days, like where is the store? Where are all the restaurants?
That's why people aren't going to stay because there's nothing for them here.
That's
Right.
A welcome, now go home committee.
Did he mean move? Do you think he meant they'll find out that they did not know about Lummi Island until we have a dock?
I don't know, possibly.
Yeah, so I haven't really wanted to engage in a conversation at a point like that, but I have been curious when I've heard that. It's been like, that suddenly people will all flock here.
Can I make a suggestion on this statement?
Yes.
Maybe we change the word enforcement to something like monitoring. I mean, I don't want.
A public awareness or awareness of guidelines or something.
rather than going down there with,
your AK-47 and saying, all right, and move it or you're gonna have holes in the bottom of your boat.
well, that's one way to take care of the problem.
No,
That's right. Yeah, so,
I like that.
yeah,
yeah, there is a definite, there's a culture on Lummi that I think that's, it's like the same culture that people feel okay parking their boats in the parking lot for the ferry, and storing their old bus or motor home there, and that's, it's public parking. I'm part of the public. I can store it here. And I think what he might be Judy might be asking about that same thing, like, okay, wow, far out. Now I can put my boat here and I can just leave it here.
Mm.
oh, of course, I just assumed they meant non-islanders.
No, I think it can be both.
Yeah, sure. Interesting point. Okay.
I'm not meaning to be mean to my island. I just know that that does exist here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, the other good news was there was nothing just blindsidingly unexpected.
Yeah, right.
It was just, you could consider this to be, I don't know, quote, friendly audience. I still was happy to not have something that this was, we hadn't even considered.
Yeah, it seemed to be a very positive group.
Mhm, mhm.
And
Okay.
I did notice one thing. I noticed that for the number of views that the Life Act meeting has had, they've had over 100 views of
Kidding.
that meeting on YouTube. Yeah, I think it was up to about 120, and that's a lot
Wow.
You know how to
for
draw.
that meeting. So there was a lot of interest in that one.
Wow. I wonder, I mean, I can't come up with I mean, there were new, committee members and everything, but still, I have to guess that that might have been pretty driven by wanting to hear. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, and now you've got the Leica meeting of that well ahead of time. So I think that will be, anticipate. In fact, one thing we might want to think about, guys, is how we manage the questions for that, whether we want to, when we're doing the town hall, we talked about doing it as a webinar where people cannot ask questions or,
Until the end. Yeah.
right. And so I think, we want to see how you phrase it to seem interested, but not get railroaded or distracted by a lot of questions in the middle of.
Yeah. And when we do that, I want to do a little talkies with people about how we want to do the screen formats and stuff like that. We can do that before the actual town hall meeting.
Yeah.
And make some decisions, but I thought we could put that off. On the Leica meeting, what I can do is I can set up so during that part of the meeting, I can just set it up as speaker, being the only person on the screen.
Yeah, good point.
Speaker view instead of gallery view.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I think we can do that from the technical end.
Yeah, it certainly, we'll have probably at least two of us will want to be moderators even for the Leica one, because say to them, you can ask questions in chat. It means somebody's got to be monitoring it. And so sorry, Nick. Nick sent me a chat about his computer was dying the other night, and I didn't check my chat until
Oh.
right before Chris went on. Anyway, so we'll have the moderator who's able to do that, plus the driver who's helping the speaker. And
Yeah, and somebody, I am really horrible about, I'm a slow typist to begin with. So Lane, if you want to be the chat person, that would be so much better than having me do it.
yes, and I'll ask probably if someone else can help too, just because sometimes if people honestly, I don't know how skilled people are at using the chat, whether that's something a lot of people are used to. The view or the webinar setup, if you will, actually has a Q&A, which is separate from the chat, right? Which is great, but for Leica, we wouldn't have that. Leica would just be chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So one other quick thing before we get on the meat and potatoes of the meeting. I told you guys I would be researching the outages, and I have ended up, I think, with what I'll suggest maybe is we consider having a separate document. I have to admit there were a lot more than I realized, because all of the short-term outages, these were short-term, like with a couple of hours, I think. Then what I would say less than a day, I think is what I was trying to break these down. I have to find this. I tell you the truth, I ended up not really finding one place I could go, and I ended up actually finding the Twitter account from the county ferry people, probably to be the most accurate, because it also had timestamps. So there was these shorter term outages, so these are unplanned. The longer ones, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what's the best way to capture the actual extent. And then for planned, I had no idea that there were this many of maintenance in 2020. Is that typical? It says on the website it's every other month, but this was like
they were doing it every month. They were doing dock maintenance every month. They have just switched in the last month or two to every other month.
Okay.
Because they've had so many outages, because you have to, like, if you look at these, that's like all time that they're not collecting revenue.
Well, there's that. But I mean, this is 10 to 3. Now, I mean, you could argue that, well, if you go to work in the morning, you come home in the late afternoon, maybe you wouldn't notice, but this was a chunk I was not expecting.
No, it's 10 to 3 once a month. That's what they were having last year.
Wow. Okay. So
And
that's
you get used
reality.
to like planning your life, like don't schedule doctor's appointments on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Well, we actually did change an appointment ourselves because it just wouldn't work out. And I hadn't, until I read this, and I said, I'm embarrassed. I'm on the committee. I had not really recognized this was okay. So it's so I'm still working and trying to think what's the best way to quantify the total, but this is I think is a pretty accurate 2021 of all the times the ferry was not available for whatever reason. What I was going to do is find out how many, one thing my husband suggested is if we get the number of passengers per year and maybe an average daily ridership, say in the summer versus say the winter, and you could
that's all available on the county website.
On the county.
Yep, I know where to find those on the ferry website, and those documents used to be there. I haven't looked at them for a couple of years, but they usually present the ridership details in detail to LIFAC.
Okay, so maybe you can help me track those down because it does represent. I think that one of the things when we think about making the presentation to the county is there's no reason to think that the county folks would really grasp like what life is like on Lummi Island. And I think to put it into numbers, what really struck me was I was stunned to read for the Washington State Ferry for the, maybe it wasn't just the San Juan Islands, but they were talking 24 million people a year ride the Washington State ferries.
Oh, yeah.
It's staggering.
It's a road. The Washington State Ferries is a road. It's part of our marine highway system. And the Lummi Island Ferry, it has pretty big ridership. Let me look on the,
Yeah.
I'll just do a little bit looking on
I've
my
got it.
thing.
I've got it pulled up right
Pulled
now
up.
for their quarterly totals. I don't see a daily total on their website here, but maybe I need to look a little further. But it looks like first quarter 35,000, second 53,000, third 53. And they have yet to post fourth quarter.
Yeah. So when you look and see every single month or something, a big chunk of the day we're not running the ferry, it when you start trying to figure, well, what would that mean? Say this was July, that's a chunk. So I think that will be helpful for conveying to the county, the quantifying the potential magnitude.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could maybe just send me that link, Nick, that'd be great, and then I can
Absolutely.
branch out.
Yeah, it's right on the Whatcom County Ferry
I
website.
thought I'd seen it somewhere, but I wasn't sure. Okay, that is all I had for whatever I was working on, an immediate kind of high priorities. Ready to look at the presentation?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a few things. I did make some edits, but I think if we try to think about, we did 10 slides for 10 minutes at LIFAC, and honestly, I think that's probably a pretty good guideline. So what we want to think about is, first of all, this is LICA, which means, like, I'm trying to separate things that we would need to be really explicit with the county about that regular islanders probably wouldn't need to hear. So we can try to eliminate those that we know are not island specific. And then the other thing, and I know Dave especially was really good at getting us to consolidate or to somehow manage to, have fewer slides with key information. Remember, we can use the notes pages, and but I think we want to target 20. I'll also say that it is a lot harder now. I was able to go back through the LIFAC ones, and I'm pretty sure I captured all the changes we made to that extracted PowerPoint, and I'm pretty sure I brought those back all to the sort of the main PowerPoint. But it's a lot harder this time. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the file as it is, and I'm just going to maybe put a note and say, okay, this one is going to be in the LICA presentation. Because if I try to have another spin-off child file, it becomes much harder to maintain. Okay.
Yeah, so I think getting to your point, Lane, about the additional information. So I've not been to a LICA or even sat in on a LICA meeting, Mary, but how many people will typically be there? And then, what additional information do we want to present to them over and above what we already had? Just more detail or targeted information?
I think detail on like what benefits to the community I think that kind of stuff would be important, and also how we are trying to address the problem of access. Because I think people are pretty aware of, you know, the walking down the rampway. I think that picture that Bill Fox posted with his Lummi Island Freestyle Aquatic Club YouTube video, I would like to get my hands on that one, because I think that one is even better, because it's from the perspective of looking down towards the boat, going down the riprap towards the boat. So I might call Bill and ask where he got that picture.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think the
Chris,
point,
you're muted.
I was just gonna say, if I remember right, Bill was up there taking pictures, so I'm sure, I think it's
Yeah.
his.
It's probably one of his, yeah. So,
speaking of which, I was going to ask, we want to particularly, I don't, I'm sorry, I don't really care about normal people. I didn't mean that. What I meant was there is a county employee in there, they are helping, and I want to make sure it's okay with him that we're showing this picture. Do
Oh,
you know who that is?
yeah, Gabe.
No, there was more than one.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
No,
realize.
Gabe is in there and Dan Ohms is in there.
Okay, so we want to ask explicitly before we go. I felt Life Act would be okay, but I didn't want to go on with other public presentations without asking.
I work with both of them, so I'll just inform them.
Okay.
And if they're
Yeah.
shocked and horrified,
Was
you know what?
Tom up
Gabe and
there
Dan, you're
too?
gonna hear this at some point.
No,
I'm glad you agree with us.
here is
Yeah.
the problem.
Chris,
Here's the problem.
was it just Gabe and Dan? Or
That's all I
was Tom
remember
there
seeing in the
too?
picture. Well, we can pull it up real
We
quick.
can
I mean,
I'll pull it up in a minute, but my point is that we do not want this to turn into a scenario where something the county employee says, oh my God, you weren't supposed to something.
Yeah,
And it's better to just not show it.
well,
you know,
Richie didn't say
Yeah.
anything when we presented it, so.
Hopefully not, but we want to give him a chance to check.
Mhm.
check
No, that's a good
carefully.
idea. That's a really good
Because-
idea.
I know OSHA, there's just a lot of things, and you don't want it to suddenly turn into some county person raises something that we just, again, we don't do that for a living, so we weren't thinking about. Okay, so I'll go ahead and go back to my sharing. And like that? Is that nice? Sorry. Okay, so here is where we are. I made myself a note about this. I have to come back now. I'm zoning totally. I can't remember why Mercer. Oh, I think my husband sent this to me. Mercer's in Washington State, isn't it? But not our county.
Mercer Island.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can come back. Sometimes I'll leave notes to myself here. So, okay. So I think part of the question for the Leica presentation is whether breaking it out into this 5-question kind of a thing seems like overkill, and we should just get to the point. You know, with Life Act, we didn't have this intro. We just went right here. So let's think about that. Any changes for this getting started?
Seems okay.
So that's one. And you know what, maybe what I'll do is I'll number them. I guess the home slide doesn't count. So let's say that that's first slide. I had, committee membership and such part of our actual town hall. With Leica, do you see any reason to?
I think it would be great to take a second and introduce the people that are at the meeting that are on the committee, that are attending the meeting and that are part of the committee, so that they can put faces to who is doing that, and who we are.
Oh, okay, okay.
So Mary, that would be you, that would be Alan, that would
Uh-huh.
be, well, Greg Hall's really not involved anymore.
He's been
We've lost a few
monitoring.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're down in numbers, but Greg was initially involved, so we'll include Greg. Who else, Mary?
Lane, Dave, Nick.
I think he means, yeah, I think she
You.
means just who are at this actual Leica meeting. So, because our faces.
Yeah, who the people that have, we can just look and see, like, if like Larry Roteman happens to be there, if he's one of the audience people, he was involved early, so I can go through and just like look at who's on, and I
Can
can
we
do
make-
that intro if you want me to.
Can we make just a slide that has all the names of the people that have wanted to be part of this and have contributed with all
Yeah.
their names?
Yeah,
So, let's just, actually, I think, maybe I'll just say here, we'll just, actually, you know what, for the, I just realized there's going to be, for the county, I actually realized we will want to give some background as to how representative we were and such. For the town hall, I think just introduce, we should all be on there, I hope. We should just introduce ourselves.
mhm.
But on the slide, yeah, just list people's names and, Chris's chair. I don't know if you want to put how long people lived out here.
In my opinion, just the names and what their role is.
So let's, but I'll come back and fix this, sorry. Okay. Okay, so that's second slide with little names in the notes. Again, this was setting the stage, certainly for the county and for the town hall.
I think this is okay to show to the Leica folks too. Like, what is the current situation?
And I don't know that we need to spell it out here, but I mean, for the Parks Department, we'll definitely need to spell it out.
Mhm.
So down in the notes, it probably wouldn't be bad, but just speaking off the hip, it's easy to answer those questions out loud as we do a presentation.
Yeah, well, I think you could do it. What is the current this is kind of like, I think that could be, this is like what we want to answer
Mhm.
during this program tonight. We want to explain the current situation. And you could probably just show that picture of people walking down the rocks. This is the current
Yeah.
situation.
Situation.
That's a great
You know,
answer to that one.
And then what solution is proposed and how would it help? What would the solution look like? When is it needed and how would the solution be managed and maintained?
Under number one, I would add that Whatcom County Public Works is opposed to any public access to ferry terminal area.
let's see if, because I realized we probably, the LICA meeting will probably only go through 1 through 3.
Yeah,
So I think they'll say we address more questions, but tonight we want to talk about the first 3.
mhm.
Great.
Okay. And that way we just tell them that's what the meeting is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Great
I would
idea.
just, you know,
So to your point, Chris, excuse me. Sorry.
COVID.
Chris, I think you're right. We want to put that somewhere, but I think I think maybe not. I think we're trying to chunk these so that we have the biggest bang for your buck. So let's think about where to put
Right.
that.
Okay.
Okay. I have a sticky note in my head for that. So the reason I think I moved this up from the original presentation because I did not want to be in a sort of a gotcha kind of a thing where we've already said we are the Public Doc Advisory Committee. Now, what do you think we're recommending?
Mhm.
Public doc. So it's not like this is a secret. I'm just trying to think, sort of a segue into the current situation and solution and what would the solution look like, and just say, I'm just going to give you the short answer is it's a public doc. And we came to that pretty quickly. We'll tell you a little bit more about how we came to it, but
Mhm.
we came to it. So that way, I think we can, it should not be a surprise, but I think getting to it pretty quickly is probably a good idea. And these are both goals. And as it turns out, of course, these are also benefits. The scope and terms that seemed to work pretty well the other night,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it was pretty short. I mean, it didn't take long. Okay, so we've used up 5 of our 20. I am counting. And this is, I think, where maybe this is where to say in terms of emergency access, we have trying to explain the difference between the emergency response at the ferry terminal, which is only.
Yeah. So with that first bullet point, I would say that there is no current ability for vessels to dock safely for emergency situations. Something like that.
Mhm.
But we're,
And to follow
public-
on with that. Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying the public doc doesn't actually change that, does it?
It does.
Oh, it would. A
So,
fireboat could come in and dock at a dock and pick up somebody and run them into Bellingham.
oh, I see what you mean. So right now, if the fireboat comes and it comes to the ferry dock, I
They
guess I'm
can-
trying to figure the role of the emergency at some, again, I guess at some point that they're planning to put some kind of emergency access.
What they're planning on doing is when they rebuild the dock, my understanding is they're going to try to make it so that they will not have to deploy the floating docks in order to have a ferry, a passenger ferry come over. There would be a place where a passenger only ferry could land on the dock. That's kind of what I've heard in the discussions, so that they no longer have to deploy those floats.
Right, so the new terminal will in fact have a dock, right?
Yeah, they will have a place for a passenger-only ferry to land. And so the new terminal would have a place where a fireboat could land, or, you know, some other boat. But they are not planning on making a place where volunteers could take people on and off the island.
Yeah.
No public
That's
access.
my understanding. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, no public access is what it comes down to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that has to be clearly stated, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I also like the fact, Chris, you mentioned that only licensed captains can use it, but definitely, yeah, no public access, so that,
Yeah, that rules out everybody.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for who the county says can do it. And that's basically what Roland said to me. And that's what I'm understanding from everybody I talked to. It's just absolutely no public access to anything on the ferry terminal. So no current ability for vessels to land safely and
I was gonna say-
transport.
Transport.
That's good enough too.
Mhm.
Okay.
The second one would be
I was gonna say transport patients, because I'm sorry, without using tying them onto a ladder, you know? Without extreme measures. I mean, I considered, you know, using,
I think Chris is tying it onto the ladder. I think that comment really needs to be in there. That, you know, I think that really does paint. I think the more pictures you can paint, the better.
Mhm. Do we have any pictures of that?
Mm-mm.
of the fire department training with the ladder.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I would even have the permission of the department to use them, so I'm just
No.
gonna say no.
But I will look. Yeah, I let's come back to this one and think about the best.
No, the only way off is either a private boat or the helicopter. If the
Right. But I'm trying to decide how it is we integrate, like you were saying that Chris, that the commissioners are struggling to understand what's the difference between upgrading the ferry terminal to address this issue versus having a public dock, which is a whole nother set of use cases. So we're stuck right now because we have this several tiers of it. If we already had some way that emergency services are currently being adequately addressed, which I have to admit, I thought they were. I did not know about this whole time people on ladders thing until you brought it up. I thought we had kind of a, you know, the fire department has an emergency response. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about public access and urgent, not life-threatening, but important. And so
Yeah, so under the top one line, the top sentence, let's get rid of LIFD response, because just anytime that we bring up LIFD, I have to get permission from the chief and all that, and it's just easier to say emergency access scenarios for, well,
first
however you wanna say
responders.
it.
is that
I think first
Or just emergency
responders.
access scenarios.
Yeah.
Just the first three words.
okay?
And bottom line is there is no current ability for vessels to land safely and transport patients on the island.
Mhm.
So do we want to specifically call this a medical emergency scenario? Because we are making the distinction between urgent need, right?
Well,
think that's a good idea.
And yeah, and I think we should have a bullet right in here addressing the future ferry terminal will have a dock, but not publicly accessible, right?
Yeah,
Because people may have heard that there's going to be a dock integrated into the terminal, but it's not going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
of use.
Yeah, that works.
And I tell you, at this point, if it's genuinely 19, good golly, Lane, 2029 before we have the new ferry terminal, then it's possible that we have a public dock before then. So I'm
hope
hoping that 20 years is out, you know, we don't have to wait 20 years, but. Okay, so let's leave that. I said extreme measures. I think, do people honestly realize that this is what it takes?
yeah, and I think Chris's statement though about like, you know, this is what we planned for, and just you can just sit down. Imagine if you're the one that's being slid up the ladder on a backboard.
Yeah.
You know, someone's going to have to get in the water probably.
High risk scenarios, Lane.
Ah, there you
Mhm.
go.
Try that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, where high risk, where down here or up above?
Right there with high risk, without high risk.
Maneuvers.
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
And they are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And we'll come back. Okay, so this is 6. Okay. We wrapped up with that committee action next steps on the Life Act presentation, and I actually thought that was probably the better place to put this, the final slide.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I should probably do it in. I'll keep moving it. Okay.
Do
So
people mind if I'm eating dinner while I'm? I can turn my video off if it bothers people. In fact, I'll do that just to be nice and polite. I'm still here.
okay.
I don't even hear you eating, Mary. It's okay.
I was thinking we don't really need the realities of island life for people who do live here.
Not for life. In fact, or life like I know.
I'm hoping.
They know.
Okay.
That's a nice slide, though. I mean,
It is a nice
I think
slide.
it's a good slide, and I think it does. And I think when we say days with ferry service outages
Yeah.
planned and unplanned in 2021, I think that would be a good number for people to look at.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
And we don't
I
have
guess
to-
you're right. That does sound good.
and
We don't
maybe
And we're going for 20 slides, right? So we need more. So there we go.
Mhm.
Okay. So
maybe-
we haven't gotten to the benefits yet.
that
Um,
number should be in red.
I'm sorry. What was that?
That, maybe that
Oh.
should be in red, just to,
This should be in red, and this should be in red. Because these are the problem areas, people.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
Okay. These are not 7 realities of island life, by the way. I'm assuming this will be good for the county, but I assume we're gonna need to start saving slides. So I'm gonna try
Okay.
this right now, make an executive decision here. I know how many more slides we have to go, so. We won't have the public feedback yet because we don't have public feedback yet. So that's gonna be easy enough.
Yeah. I will have some survey results. I'm starting to compile them.
Okay.
I've gotten some interesting responses, so.
Okay. Dave had a good point. I think, Dave, you pointed out or Alan, the other day that I had a kind of I had an extract that didn't really map to the size of the actual lot size. And so I decided instead to use this is the official picture from Whatcom County.
Right.
Great idea.
However, saying that you have beach access and actually having beach access, my friends, not the same thing.
Mhm.
What percentage of time do you think you can actually get down to a beach? I think I've seen it like 3 times. I've lived here 6 months.
And it has
So-
led to a lot of landowners having to deal with trespassers because no signs are present.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm assuming people who live on the island. I mean, I can always put this comment, on the other slide but the county absolutely has to see this, because otherwise, in my mind, they're going to say, a bunch of whiner babies. You already have this great, you have these stairs. You can go down the beach anytime you want. They're like, oh, really? I suggest you do not want to do that on a lot of days.
Yeah,
So I realized, I think we can probably leave that for the committee, for the county, but I realized we needed to tell them, because why would they know this?
Yeah, like it.
So here, honestly, again, these are things you'd think I'd have noticed by now, but I didn't realize that officially the parking for the beach access park is at the Beach Store Cafe. Do
What?
they realize that?
That's the first I've heard of this.
This is from the county site for the beach. This is the parking.
Yeah, let me get a hold of the Burnett family who own the cafe, the building and the property there and see what they say about that.
Have any of you seen sign? We were going to check it and see if there were signs over there. I've never noticed any signs.
I have not either.
But it raises, so the same question is, A, how do you get to it safely without getting run over? And B, do people really realize that was the intent? There's one parking, I think there's one handicap, probably parking space in front of the platform.
Mhm.
There is one.
Yep,
There is.
it's a parallel park, I think.
So I think we need to, again, we have some clarification. We wouldn't want to be blindsided in the middle of a presentation where somebody said, where the hell are they going to park? And we're all like, oh, they'll park at the, uh-oh. So yeah, Chris, if you don't mind. I actually had my husband go on the Google, he sent me a picture of Google map to show, because when I looked at this, I wasn't positive myself, but it is, I looked at the Google map and it's definitely next to the store. Okay, let's see. So 8 slides down. I'll move that one later. I think this will be super important for showing for the town hall and for the county. Do you think we want to remind people at LICA that this is not a new idea?
No, yeah, I think people that some of them that come to meetings, some of them have lived here only as long as you have to the lane.
Oh, it's a good point. Okay.
So. And until I saw this picture, I didn't know what the public dock looked like, and I've lived here 19 years.
Yeah. Now, there was there was the ferry dock, the original ferry dock, which was very much smaller. And I think I had seen those pictures.
No, this was the ferry dock.
But I meant the original ferry dock was in the same place, but smaller than this. Okay. Okay, so then that is 9. Okay, so we're at the, let's make sure we're clear about what's going to work and not work. And this is where we'll put the details about the Aston is not a solution, right? But
Yeah.
the question here is, how much time? So we'll really want to come back and make sure we've got this one very succinctly captured. And it looks like I didn't quite get from the Life Act presentation. It looks like I didn't get that.
Yeah, I think we ought to mention that this is the shortest distance between Lummi Island and the mainland available to us.
Good point. Okay. So halfway through the presentation, we're into the, what are we suggesting, kind of the, why are we suggesting it? Why do we need it? And now we'll get to the, what are you going to get out of it? Move on to the benefits. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe we want, instead of say, maybe provide safe boat access on and off island at all times, or,
On and off island, period.
yeah,
Shorten it up. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
and maybe safe small boat access on and off island, or
And instead of deployment for fireboats, it probably should be access.
mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that.
We're not deploying anything from it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, their
Mhm.
deployment. Mhm.
Yeah, I think those are good.
That's actually dock. It's the. Okay. And then so in terms of features and such, I guess I'm just not sure for Leica. And we can put question marks here if we're not positive, although here was the, so when I cropped it anyway, it could be I cropped the picture, Chris, maybe that's why we didn't see as many, or does this, are these other?
Yeah, that's Gable and Dan.
That's, yeah,
Okay,
Gabe and Dan.
okay. So,
I think this is good to keep in there.
okay. So that's 12, because we were doing a little bit about the, sort of, this is the what and this is the how.
Yeah,
That's still good.
yeah.
I found I added the radio controlled hobbyists, and I realized wildlife viewing and photography.
Perfect.
So those are some of the others. Now we might, let's see, come back. Let's see, this is 14. Let's see how we're doing slide wise here. Okay. Oh, you know what? I have a feeling this would probably should be first. I think this other one, the benefits, the features, and then here's more about how people, more potential benefits.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice.
Okay, so the this is Leica. And I would say we would certainly need to do
Back on that other slide,
this one.
yeah, provide, no, where the one where they had the dinghies,
Yeah. Oh, the dinghies. Yeah. Here.
next one. Yeah, next one, okay. Short term, I think you want to have short-term tie-ups or temporary
Short-term.
tie-ups.
Transient.
No, transient
Mhm.
doesn't, transient, when I'm looking for transient moorage, that means I'm looking for an overnight spot sometimes.
Mhm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Transient means not staying long, but I don't think it means.
Yeah, it's,
Not
yeah, transient
through.
is, yeah, a lot in a lot of the marinas, they call the areas for people to stay overnight transient moorage.
Mhm.
That's boater talk.
So I personally, I'm going to put a little X here because I think this is Leica. So we're trying to move on through. And if we have to give some of these up, I think these are extra benefits that we could list on the previous. We could list them here without pictures. So that's environmental benefits. Think about this one. I'm going to put a little question mark here.
I do like that one because then I can, off of that, I can also mention that in speaking with pile driving company that having existing
yes.
pilings that need to be dealt with, this would provide a way to actually remove more contaminants that are still existing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So instead of removing them, you said they actually could cap.
Yeah, they just go over the top of them with the casings and basically cover them.
Mhm. So immersion in emissions, whatever they're called. I see. So cap.
No, you could say remove or cap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's add both. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, one idea maybe is use this one instead.
I like both.
All right. Okay. So that would be 15. This would be 16. This would be 17. Okay. This one is not there. This one's not there. Let's see. So now we're at, we probably don't need all the design terms. Because we're going to run out. Let me just go through and show you the rest of the slides so we can kind of have a better sense of what else we have left here. Let's see. So we had some design terms, compliance with that master, the shoreline program. Again, maybe not needing this for Leica.
it's already stated in that other slide, so.
That's true. That's true. These were explicit. You're right. These were the specific guidelines, but you're right.
Yeah.
So we can hide this one. And
Well-
if you need it, if you liked it, and we could always put this text underneath the other one for the handouts.
Right, yeah, just say that.
Okay. Here were the. It's interesting. We had this key design factors, but now we've talked about the raising the dock and everything. I feel like this might actually be outdated now.
No, I don't think so.
That first PowerPoint, locate in enough water, that float does not.
Here. Okay, so if we leave this one in. That is 18.
18.
What's that?
Oh, I was guessing which number we were at.
Yes, so I think we're at 18. Hide. That way I can go through the presentation, but the hiding ones won't show. Okay. Oh, hey, how about this?
I like it.
I said to my husband, "Oh, how much furor? What kind of meltdown do you think we will see if I show this?" He said, "Oh, I'll guarantee you." Okay, we won't show that.
However, I mean, understanding that in light of who they service now, there is actually an organization that is led by Terry's son that provides emergency provisions to any community during times of emergency, like what just happened up in Canada with the floods.
Of
And they
course.
provide air flights just for this reason. So it would work for emergency use of planes being able to bring in goods to the island.
That's so interesting. I think that would open a can of worms we do not want to go, but it's an interesting point.
Let me get Sky's permission to grab a picture from him that actually shows supplies coming in on a rescue mission. Because that's, I mean, and again, Terry, this is her son, and she's in full support of the ability for rural communities to be able to receive help from pilots who volunteer to do this. So even though this is not that type of situation, this picture, we could get one showing them in their garb and in, offloading and unloading supplies, medical supplies and such.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Well, I'm glad you did that, because I didn't even think about that until you just showed me it. And I'm like, oh, hey, this would.
Yeah. I was trying to find a dinghy. Actually, I was trying to find a dinghy. I don't think we need this, especially because I don't think we want to talk about symbols like a. So I think we can hide that. So now we're just coming down to pretty much the our concept for the dock seasonal design. And that seemed to have gone very well, very well. I thought at the Life Act meeting, sort of an immediate, oh, I see.
Yeah, this is a keeper.
I think that is a really good design. I would love to know what the length of the float is.
Length, does that mean how
Yeah.
far out of the water it can come?
No, how long the float is.
Oh, this
like what's
float.
the
Oh,
linear
yes. I looked
footage
at it
of
too.
the dock side.
I couldn't think that if it was as long as 20, I was trying to guess also. Okay, so
I'm going to say 30 because those floats are 6 feet long.
oh,
Oh, each of
I
those,
see.
each of the underfloats.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5. Oh, okay, longer than I guessed.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't. Let's see how we're doing here. Let's see. That's the tie up. Actually, I think the only other thing we had was the what are we doing next? Yeah, so we could very well leave this if we just want to show concepts for. If this is sort of a basic design, and then you can imagine.
well, I think that the aluminum one, the previous slide would be the one with the razor upper.
Yeah.
I think that would be a dock that could be used and easily deployed year round. It could be raised out of the water during the winter, but when most people aren't out there doing recreational boating, but then it can be lowered down in good weather.
But
And
you still imagine having other shells or other
Yeah, and you could have an additional couple of links coming off of that, but that would be the part that would be the year-round dock.
Right.
And that's kind of like our minimum want.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. So if we said we would envision having more than just, this would be a bare minimum, we would hope we would also have removable dock sections for off.
Mhm.
So then we could wrap, I think this was the only other thing, whether we wanted to say we were going to, I found two of these pictures. This one, the pier went out. So that becomes your platform out here versus the.
There's a bump out, yeah.
Mhm. And we do have to point out, yeah, we realize these are wooden, so it's not about the building material, it's about the design concept.
Mhm.
Do you want to leave these in for Leica or leave it for the public town meeting?
I think the removable one is the most important one.
Mhm.
I don't know that these might, I don't know,
Confused.
these might create some confusion or
Yes.
concern even maybe, because these look like pretty substantial structures.
Good point.
Will be,
Good point.
but-
Yeah. Actually, I like your idea for both. And that's all we did for Life Act was just, it was a concept.
Yeah,
But that it was, as Mary said, it's kind of our minimal. This would address most of the benefits that we discussed. It's
Mhm.
not so much about the waterfront, the way it is right here in front of you. It doesn't provide much in terms of the other recreation like crabbing and fishing and stuff like that, but for public safety.
Yeah, and because of the design of that area, you probably are going to have, it's going to have to go out probably about 2 more sections of run.
Oh, you had enough. Yeah.
Before you built the lifting platform.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, you guys, what good jobs you did. That is, I think we're right at 20. I'm just trying to find my next steps. Here it is. That would be the 20th slide. Not
Do we
counting.
want to share with Life Act or the outcome of the phone calls I've made with neighbors? Or is that just going to be for the Parks Department?
Oh, interesting.
That might be good. Some of the things that we have been doing is we have been contacting neighbors.
I can add that map of who I've contacted, but be real general about the response.
Yeah, I think you don't want to give their responses, but we are aware that this, and we are trying to contact neighbors and find out what their support is for the project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we say continue. Homeowners near
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I didn't think, actually, I wasn't positive we would get this far. Okay, cool. So what I'll do then is I will look through these, and anything that was from the Life Act, I'll just check that again to make sure that anything from the Life Act, those changes are reflected in this. And then I can send this out to you guys, just extract these key. And just to give you an idea, so see, now we'll only see the, sorry, let's start at the top. So you guys can kind of step through it and imagine you're talking through it and see, does the flow make sense? Because this way we're only seeing the slides we've selected.
Mhm.
Sure this adds up. 5, 6, 7, yeah. Oh, gotta hide that one. Gotta get that one from Life Act. Oh, I skipped, oh, hey. Oh no, that was 11. 12, yes, 13. Okay, and we can leave that one in. Awesome.
Yeah, great progress. I think Lane, as soon as you get that ready to go and get it off to us so we can start running through it, since it is a little bit longer, I'll
Yeah.
definitely
Yes,
work
and
on
start
that.
people practice and see, does it feel like, 20
Mhm.
minutes?
And since it's going to be a Zoom meeting anyways, it's just as easy for me to click through it on my own. I mean, it worked out fine on the last meeting, so not an issue at all.
Yeah, I think what the one reason we were talking about was if we hid something and then you wanted to show it, but that did not seem to, it would seem to me that the best way to do it is just put the notes in the notes page. And if we,
And if we've got you on there, we got Mary on there, Nick on there, whoever, if we are able to share again, and I say, hey,
Yeah.
let's bring up something, one of you could
Yeah.
jump in there and bring it up. So
yes, yeah, say if, well, we looking at such and such an island and blah, 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 and like we
Mhm.
happen to have, if we have time at the end, we can talk about that because we happen to have a picture. Or if somebody suddenly says, we really should have a bump out, we're like, yeah, we've discussed. Somehow I don't think that's gonna be what they'll say. But we don't know.
No, I think next week I should have, I can compile like survey results to date. And I'll do a report on those so you can hear some of the comments that people have made.
Great.
Because there are a couple of them that are sort of interesting. Just I think it was just the thing, well, I'm a prepared islander and da 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 da. And I think that these people that are coming to the island and expecting stuff. And I saw that and I read that and I go, man, I always thought that I was a pretty prepared islander and pretty self-reliant. But then I found myself, like when Jim had his issue, it was like, wow, crapo. All I could think of is you kind of have this perceptual narrowing and you are just focused on, the doctor said, get him to the ER. So, okay, get him to the ER. If I had known the ferry was out, I have a boat, I can drive a boat. I could have taken my boat into Bellingham, or I could have asked my good neighbor, Dave, to give me a ride to Bellingham. But, not everybody has that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it when you're the person that the emergency or the urgency is happening to.
Mhm.
Because I just, that just kind of hit me. When I read that, I was like, And, I think that, wow. maybe I was being a baby about this.
Oh, you're taking action. We're gonna build a public dock.
That's right. No, we are
Yes.
all going to do this. So yay.
Great work, everybody. Good progress tonight. Mary, we'll look forward to seeing more of that information that you're gathering. That's going to be great to see
Yeah.
all those comments.
I'll share those with people. I'll try to like just compile what I've got to date. And I think, so Chris, I'll put the other link in that document, and then we can probably put it on, you can probably like take that one for the survey and put it on Facebook.
Okay.
If you want to.
Okay, I'll wait for that.
But yeah, I'll embed the new thing, and I'll correct that thing that Dave said.
Okay,
The grammar thing. So, okay. And I should get that to you. I'll just work on it right now and get it out to you and to Alan. So, okay.
I thought of just one more item before we do go. Thanks for staying late, all. Tom Philpott and his mailings to us. Did everybody read through those?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know where you all are all on that. At this point, my mind is set on the direction that we're going. And any type of proposal that he has made, that goes to the fire department, has nothing to do with us. And so from my perspective, it really has nothing to do with us. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. And he sent me an email, a follow-up email this week. I can just, he said that he, I'm just gonna pop it up here real quick. He just said basically, he thought he was at the meeting,
The commissioners
he
meeting?
said, Mary, I was not able to stay for the whole LIFAC Zoom meeting on Wednesday. However, I did review Chris Emmer's presentation at LIFAC on the YouTube today. Your dock committee at LICA has certainly made a good case for how a dock would greatly enhance emergency response, and it serves many other needs as well. The core of your proposal is centered around Whatcom County Parks and Recreation. I agree that their endorsement of your plans as well as financial assistance can make this project a reality. Your group has shown the logical path forward. When I sent you information on the water taxi from Orcas Island, I was not endorsing both services. I made it clear to him that he alone would have to promote his program through the appropriate channels. So I look forward to attending the LICA Town Hall meeting on February 6th. Thanks again for your work and your committee's work, all that your committee has done to help Islanders, Tom.
Very nice.
So,
And just as follow-up to his statement about that guy would have to seek the work, and it's public information because it's on the fire commissioner's presentation from last Tuesday. Basically, the fire department understands that the guy is not going to pursue it. He doesn't want to pursue it. If he was asked and given a contract, he'd consider it, but he's so busy, he really has no interest in any type of agreement with the fire department, and that wouldn't even be a possibility at this point. So.
Yeah, so I don't know. It sounds like Tom's okay with, what we're doing and just seeing this. And so I think that's been taken care of. Okay.
Okay,
And
great.
I kind of responded to him and thanked him again for his letter and stuff. So
Wonderful.
do you want me to forward that to you guys, or?
I don't need it, but
Okay.
it's public record here, so.
Yeah, I just read it onto this thing. So, yep, it's there.
All right,
Okay.
anything else, anybody?
That's it.
All right, enjoy Martin Luther King Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Continue
All right.
being of service. Bye-bye. Good night.
All right,
Night.
guys.